Vanished from Earth Classic Game Room broadcasts from the intergalactic space arcade on its never-ending mission to review everything. Welcome to Classic Game Room for the review of the Narc LCD handheld game. That's right, Narc. It's better than you might expect. It was a normal day one sunny April morning when I arrived at the Intergalactic Space Arcade only to find a massive box filled with LCD handheld game systems. Lots of them, including a 3D Ninja game, but what really jumped out at me was Narc. Because I used to have this game when I was a kid. And I remember it being really cool. If the game has blood splattered all over the logo, it's got to be good, right? Well, have I killed those brain cells over the years, or is my memory correct? Is this a crappy handheld worth playing? Let's find out. Oh no, I got eaten by the dog while grabbing bullets. As a general rule, all of these games suck. There's not a whole lot they could do with these 80s and 90s LCD handhelds. And oh, by the way, this one is from Acclaim. Cheap drugstore LCD handheld game system made by Acclaim. This sounds about as good of an idea as entering the R-Zone. And it doesn't really resemble the Narc arcade game all that much. Also, I think we're shooting out a fast food drive-thru speaker system that breathes fire on you and transforms into a giant skeleton. Now, how's that not cool? Wait a second. Is this game actually good? I'm not sure I would go so far as to say Narc, the crappy LCD handheld, is good, but at least it proves I haven't murdered all of my brain cells. Because given the limitations of the cheap, crappy LCD technology, it's not half bad. And let's face it, if you take this on a trip, you'll be the only one on the plane playing Narc. And everyone around you will love the sounds this thing makes. Whoa, hey, there's the ladder, get up there. Okay, here's what you do. You shoot the guy in the trench coat and jump over the killer attack dogs, while making sure to pick up some extra bullets before you ascend to the second level. Be wary of the fire shooting out of the drive-thru thing, and watch out for the perverts or drug dealers in the trench coats. You want to shoot them before they reach the bottom of the second level. Also pick up the briefcase filled with coke. You can sell that on the open market later. Then quickly shoot out the skeleton before it attacks you. Also watch out for those trench coat guys. And if you survive, repeat. That's Narc, the LCD game. It looks pretty cool. I like the black plastic case and the red buttons. It's got a sketchy subway platform on the bottom level and a warehouse or something on the top. This is one of 3 handheld games that I remember from my childhood. I had the Defender game from Entex that I reviewed years ago, this one, and Burger Time. Narc is interesting because the gameplay is actually somewhat complex for an LCD handheld, and it works. This may be the only one of these games that successfully pulls off a split-level playfield. Or at least it's the only one that I can think of. I mean, look at what's going on here. You're avoiding obstacles, jumping things, shooting bad guys, climbing ladders, picking up drugs, and fighting an end boss, all in one crappy LCD handheld. That's pretty impressive. These designers deserve an award. It's all a bit random, though, as you might expect from this kind of game. The hardest part is climbing the ladder up to the second level and not running into the sketchy guys in the trench coats. Because you need to wait for the ammo to appear. It does you no good to get up there and then run out of bullets, because then you can't fight the giant skeleton, obviously. And watch out for the dog while trying to grab the briefcase filled with cocaine. Now, as you might expect, I have a huge classic game room shout out and thank you to send all the way to Eric from Pasadena, California. Thank you, Eric. This was quite unexpected, to walk into work one day and find a giant 40-pound box filled with LCD handheld games, including one from my childhood. How did it get to California? Now I'm going to have nightmares about the music in this game. It's terrible, but that's also part of what makes it so cool. Narc, perfect for gaming in public in confined, quiet spaces. Just make sure to yell when you get the cocaine before the dog. Here it is, Narc. Haven't seen this game in years. Love it. It's a little bit larger than a Nintendo Game & Watch. I'm reviewing Super Mario Brothers right now. This game is sweet. Two great LCD handhelds here, by the way. Not very often you're going to hear me say that. This runs on, from Acclaim, this runs on 2 AA batteries, which I actually left at work. So, just as well. Don't need to hear that music anymore. It's super annoying, but you can also turn it off if you want to. Here's a close-up of the buttons, just in case you don't know what direction's what. It will tell you, and there's where you can turn off the sound, start, fire, all those kinds of things. It's Narc. Highly recommended. If for no other reason, the logo is awesome. Love it. Vanished from Earth Classic Game Room broadcasts from the Intergalactic Space Arcade on its never-ending mission to review everything. Welcome to Classic Game Room. We've all seen the 3D fad come and go, and now it's virtual reality with fancy, expensive, cumbersome goggles and whatever. You don't need any of that to experience real 3D virtual reality with electronic 3D Ninja Fighter. All you need is 2 AA batteries and some ninja skills from Tiger Electronics, the makers of the R-Zone. So, you think you've played all the games. Have you played Electronic 3D Ninja Fighter?
Welcome to my 3D House of Pain.
If not, then you haven't experienced a hybrid live-action LCD plastic video game in 3 dimensions. It's amazing. If amazing meant terrible.
Ow.
Like if you went back in time and changed the meaning of amazing to mean something completely opposite of what it actually means, then that's exactly what this would be, in 3 dimensions.
Why couldn't they design these games to be easier to film in the future? I don't understand this. Surely you knew Classic Game Room was going to review your game, Tiger Electronics. Make an easier spinny knob. That's not my fault, that's their fault. I fight ninjas in 3 dimensions like it's my job. Because it's my job. I have the 3D skills to pay the 3D bills. It's so real, it's like I'm there. I can almost smell the trees on fire.
When this arrived at the Intergalactic Space Arcade, I took one look at it and said, wow, that's incredible. It doesn't disappoint except in every way that it possibly can.
Woo! That's right. -2. Wait, round 2. Sorry, that's what that means. Bring it! Take your whack-ass 2-dimensional ninja somewhere else. I am a 3D plastic ninja. Living in a 2D electronic world. I am a material girl.
What you do in Electronic 3D Ninja Fighter is reasonably simple. You fight LCD ninjas with your LCD arm that magically appears from beneath your plastic body.
I don't know why anybody would buy a VR headset when you could have this. Nothing gives you the thrill of actually fighting ninjas in a plastic forest like this thing. What? Game over? The only thing I can do is move back and forth. It's a life in captivity.
It's like a metaphor for life. Are we not all 3D plastic ninjas forced to spend eternity inside a plastic case until it runs out of batteries?
They should have named this game 3D Armless Ninja Fighter. Electronic 3D live-action video Ninja Fighter LCD game from Tiger. That's a long title. But a great game. It kind of looks like Shinobi, except Shinobi only fights in 2 dimensions, whereas this fights in 3 dimensions. Look at that. Your little ninja moves back and forth. If we look in the background here, we've got some trees on fire. Some ninja stars lodged in that tree, and that one over there. We've got this ninja here, who's either chasing our hero 3D ninja or cheering him on, maybe both. Yay, go! And we've got a patch of grass or some vomit there, not sure. And I don't know what those are. Light posts, mailboxes, ICBMs. Who can say? Here's a look at it from the side. It's almost like an aquarium. I like that. And yeah, 3D Ninja Fighter. What will they think of next? 25 years ago. Tiger Electronics. Evil geniuses they were. Evil geniuses. You cannot defeat my Kung Fu. My 3D Kung Fu. Your 2D Kung Fu will always lose to 3D Kung Fu. The extra D makes it that much better. No. Woo! It's like this is so real. It's like I'm actually there.
It's not a good game, but you have to admit this is fascinating.
Electronic 3D Ninja Fighter? No! This stupid controller!
Which is slippery and requires more force than you might expect to rotate. It's this game's biggest weakness, beyond the fact that it sucks.
This knob is not really the greatest knob in the world. I feel like a real 3D Ninja would have better controls than this. I keep banging the camera. It's not me, it's the Ninja. Woo! There's just no easy way to record this.
But it's lovable. You gotta give it that. If you're going to make a crappy LCD game, at least make it interesting. I have to commend the Tiger Electronic engineers for that.
I hate this game, yet I can't stop playing it. I am a 3-dimensional ninja living in a 2-dimensional world, dispensing 4 dimensions of pain. Come on, bring it. I defy physics with my ninja stars. I am like the Stephen Hawking of ninjas.
I mean, it's not good. I just kinda like it. Probably because it's not good. It is memorable. You can throw ninja stars, you swipe your ninja sword, you can even light enemies on fire, but I think that depletes your health. I'm not sure. It doesn't matter. You'll never play this game. It's just a fabulous curiosity. And I've got a huge Electronic 3D Ninja Fighter!
Oh!
Sized classic game room shout out and thank you going to my man Eric in Pasadena, California once again. Thank you, Eric. I had fun recording this one. It's not fun to play, but it is fun to review. Thank you for sending this amazing game to the show.
All this fighting, yet we never learn his name. 3-dimensional ninja, what do we call you? I dub thee Greg.
My recommendation is that you pass on this one. Spend your money on a cup of coffee instead, like a really cheap cup of coffee.
Electronic 3D Ninja Fighter!
Just messing with you on that one. Or am I?
I am bringing the zone of danger in 3 dimensions. I know that you all love the Gamecom, therefore I hate you. Maybe that's what this ninja is throwing at them. These aren't ninja stars. They're Gamecoms. I am beating waves of enemies with Tiger Gamecoms. Is there a more effective weapon than the Gamecom? Perhaps a weaponized R-Zone?
Welcome to Classic Game Room, where it's always a wonderful day in space to play Defender. But what if you don't have the room or the budget for a full-sized Defender arcade machine? How about this? The Defender handheld arcade machine from Entex. Let's take a look here at ClassicGameRoom.com. If there was ever a song made that captures the frantic, intense gameplay found in 1980s Defender, this is not it, but this show's kinda weird, so whatever. It's Arcade Defender from NTEX, released in 1982, the handheld version of Defender. All the fun of Defender powered by 4 C-cell batteries, even though one of the covers is missing. This game means a lot to me because I used to have it as a kid and I haven't seen it since. So imagine my surprise when this arrived from the Netherlands. Oops, sorry. And I'm probably going to mispronounce your name, but I'll try. So a huge thank you to Misha from Utrecht, the Netherlands. I'll get you on the map here at the end of the video, but let's take a look at Arcade Defender, which is a beautiful handheld for starters. It just looks great, and it's huge. The screen itself isn't very big, but the entire design of this handheld just conveys power. It's really just a very fun game to play, and if you've ever seen a Defender arcade machine, you know it's played with buttons. There's no joystick on Defender. And there's no joystick here. Up, down, thrust, reverse, fire, hyperspace, and smart bomb. Just don't hit the start button accidentally, because that'll reset your game. While this is certainly a different take on Defender, it's not the arcade machine. The gameplay is the same. Shoot the aliens before they kidnap the humans and turn them into mutants. Smart bomb. It's never dumb to use a smart bomb. If you lose all your humans, it's time to fight in hyperspace or whatever this thing is. Smart bomb. That was dumb. It's even got catchy, fun music. It looks great. This is light years ahead of most handhelds from the era. And there's not even a number I can throw out there that would tell you how many times better than the Gamecom this is. This wipes the floor with most of those Tiger handhelds. It's Defender. It wipes the floor with most everything. It even has a game control speed, 2 different skill settings, and you can mute it for when your parents were going to strangle you in the back of the car. Not that I'm speaking from experience or anything. So let's break out the map for a huge classic game room shout out and thank you to Misha from Utrecht in the Netherlands. Uh-oh, hyperspace. If you like handheld video games, this is one to add to your collection. It only plays one game. But when that one game is Defender, it's the only game you need to play. Although be careful, it'll still make you cry. Defender is a tough game, but damn is it a lot of fun, and if you're sitting in the back seat of a wood-paneled station wagon, I can't think of any better way to pass the time. Arcade Defender. Just watch out for that start button, which is right below the smart bomb, and resets your game. Keep hitting the damn wrong button. Welcome to Classic Game Room, where I just got done reviewing the PlayStation Gold wireless stereo headset, which is why I'm still wearing it, because it's super comfortable and looks great with an Atari hat. But I'm going to do the unthinkable. I'm going to unbox something and review it on the same day. Like, this never happens. There's usually a month backlog. Well, a month. More like a couple year backlog anymore. But I kind of know what this is. I'm pretty excited to play it. This is from Radica in Monroe, Louisiana. Monroe, Louisiana. Louisiana. I say Louisiana. Let's see what we got in here. There's a note. I'll read that in a moment, but... oh yeah. What I thought it was. Where are those scissors? Unboxing live. Well, sort of. For me, it's live. Not so much for you. This is it! The Radio Shack Cosmic Quest Handheld LCD game. How exciting is this? Roderick emailed me and asked if I would give this a good home and a review, and I said yes! I love Radio Shack handhelds. I love Radio Shack. There's just something something special and quirky about Radio Shack. So I gotta go find some batteries. Let's fire this up and review Cosmic Quest here on Classic Game Room, the most professional review show on the internet. If you don't like Radio Shack handheld video games, then you don't love freedom. Because this game frees you from the constraints of your game system plugged into a television. It's like mobile gaming before mobile gaming was a thing, and it's from Radio Shack. I love Radio Shack. I like pretty much anything that has the word shack in it. Woo! Take that, alien space rocks! They don't just sell radios anymore, kids. They make video games from Radio Shack. This is Cosmic Quest, a game that doubles as a video game, like Gradius, and a laser pistol. I love these things. Look at this. From Radio Shack. Read owner's manual. No. Use 2 AAA batteries. I've done that. Admire the beautiful design of Radio Shack. It plays a video game and it doubles as a laser gun. So you can run around the house and threaten your pets. Cosmic Quest. Let's step it up to level 4. We're gonna be hardcore here. Uh-oh. I'm out of space laser ammo in my Radio Shack. What am I to do? No! I flew into alien space rocks. What you do in this game is collect the UFO things that trigger an ammo power-up. You get that and then shoot alien space rocks for points. I'm so sad the other day I saw that the Radio Shack near me is closing. People, we need to bring Radio Shack back. This game isn't bad. Who likes alien space rocks? They're oppressive. After a while, you fight an end boss, which is like a giant wall that sits there and does nothing except let you shoot at it. It's incredible. Cosmic Quest. Definitely better than the R-Zone. Not as good as Cosmic Carnage on the 32X or Solar Quest on the Vectrex. But neither of those games were sold by Radio Shack. That was a slick move right there. That's some fancy flying. Oops, that's not. I like this game. Cosmic Quest. Better than Uncharted 4. Yeah! End boss! Uh-oh. I'm out of lasers. I need more! Quick! Give me lasers, Radio Shack! Avoid the rocks and collect the Mentos. I'm not sure what that is, actually. Just gives you lasers. Then you shoot the rocks. Shoot the core! Shoot the core! Oh, I'm out of ammo. Radio Shack is like the strip mall equivalent of wood grain on your VCR. You can't live without it. Frighten me, alien. Yeah! Alien destroyed. Radio Shack. Victory! On the map, it's a Classic Game Room shout out and thank you going to Roderick from Monroe, Louisiana. Thank you for sending Radio Shack Cosmic Quest. Oh, they're tricksy. Yeah! Roderick from Monroe, I kill more rocks by 7 a.m. than most people do all day. Radio Shack. No! Banished from Earth Classic Game Room broadcasts from the intergalactic space arcade on its never-ending mission to review everything. What this game needs is the BJ theme for Billy and Jimmy, or Bimmy and Jimmy. Don't punch me! Love the way it kicks. Welcome to Classic Game Room, where I have the Double Dragon Tiger Handheld LCD game system. Is it as bad as it sounds? Let's find out. I have reviewed the greatest game ever made, and this isn't it. It's Double Dragon the Tiger Handheld. And yes, it's as awful as you think it is, but we're gonna have a good time playing it together, aren't we? Aren't we? Answer now. Thank you. Actually, that was just a trick question. I'm messing with you because it's only a single-player game, even if Double Dragon is best enjoyed two-player, beating up enemies together. Oh no, in this game you'll walk along slowly and punch and kick enemies on this terrible LCD screen. Pretty much what you would expect from Tiger. Now, everything about this game is horrible, except for the simple fact that it's better than the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers game with the same case. That's its only saving grace. Double Dragon is better than Mighty Morphin Power Rangers from Tiger. Way to go. The game works in some kind of a logical fashion, which is more than you can say for most of these crappy 90s handhelds. You punch, you kick, you can even back up and fight enemies in the back of the screen. And jump and kick them in the face and dodge dynamite and stalactites or whatever. It's even got backgrounds like buildings and trees, and there's a cave level. You know, the more I think about it, the more I'm coming to the conclusion that this is the best Tiger handheld game ever created. Because it actually works. And I do like the Double Dragon artwork, especially that guy's arm on the right side. I think he's an inflatable balloon guy with a knife and a fancy red vest. He should have gold sparkly pants on to complete the outfit. I wonder if he does. Can't see the rest of it. Double Dragon Tiger handheld. Should you run out and buy this game? Absolutely not. Unless you plan on just running it over with your truck because you get enjoyment out of such things. But this does prove that Tiger could at least make a functional game based on some kind of a licensed property. It's not good, but I'm sure this was pretty cheap and might have kept some kids occupied for at least 20 minutes back in the 90s. You'll never guess what kind of batteries power Double Dragon. AAAs? Oh no, 9 volt? Think again. D-cell. Who uses D-cells? Double Dragon runs on AA batteries. 2 of them. One for Bimmy, one for Jimmy. Not actually sure which one you're playing in this game though. It doesn't matter. Eventually it'll just end up in a landfill or be sent to Classic Game Room. See, this show is good for the environment because it's in space. And I have a Classic Game Room shout out and thank you to send to Jeffrey from Lansdale, Pennsylvania, in the Keystone State. Thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you for sending Double Dragon. It's another Tiger handheld to avoid, but at least now you know it's better than the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Tiger LCD handheld game. And I think it might also be better than Double Dragon 3 on the Game Boy. Is that a pile of barf on the ground, or is it a rock? You know, they put a lot of time and effort into this game, and it shows. Oh. Stabbed by a stalactite. Again. Oh, game over. Banished from Earth, Classic Game Room broadcasts from the intergalactic space arcade on its never-ending mission to review everything. Welcome to Classic Game Room for the review of the Super Mario Bros. Game & Watch from Nintendo. This thing is super cool. Let's check it out. It's hard to imagine a time when kids were not able to play pretty much whatever video game they wanted to on their mom's iPhone or smartphone or tablet or whatever. In the 1980s, mobile gaming as we know it today didn't even exist. Until the Nintendo Game & Watch series. They may not have been there first with these handheld games, but they did it the best. And one could argue that they still do today. Nintendo handhelds are great. And you can take your 3DS XL and trace its heritage all the way back to 1980's Game & Watch series. Now the Super Mario Bros. That we're watching here is from 1986. Most of you are probably familiar with Mr. Game & Watch, who was a familiar face in a lot of these old-school Nintendo games. He's not in this one. This time we get Mario, who's trying to save the princess by navigating moving platforms and avoiding obstacles. It's not quite the Super Mario Bros. That you know from the NES. In fact, aside from some musical selections and Mario, it shares little in common with the NES version, except it's still really fun, which is amazing considering the limitations of the old-fashioned LCD handheld technology. Nobody could do it like Nintendo. The thing is, these games were really expensive. This is actually the first Nintendo Game & Watch I've ever reviewed on Classic Game Room because I never had them as a kid. I always look at these and see the rich kid next to me on the bus who had a new one every week. And the thing is, you had to be that rich kid to get more than one of them because every time you wanted a new game, you had to buy a new game system. It's no wonder that Nintendo's Game Boy did so well, with interchangeable cartridges. Rookie move, Mark. I assume you all caught the music there. Sure, these days you can pick up Game & Watch games on other Nintendo game systems, but there's nothing quite like the original. They still look and feel expensive. They look and feel well made. And as you can see, this thing is still working, so clearly it is. The Nintendo Game & Watch series are the high-end LCD handheld games. And we all know what the low end is. That's right, Tiger Electronics. And you'll be seeing a lot of those on the show soon. Now enough with the history lesson. How's this game? Well, it's not bad. It's quite fun, actually, but not as good as Super Mario Bros. On the NES. It starts off slow. You have 8 levels in each of the stages. Or maybe it's 8 stages in each level. Anyway, after you get through the first level, they repeat with more obstacles, and then it starts to get challenging. You see, now Mario has to avoid the bullets, and it picks up from there. Depending on what level it is, he can move forward or backward and jump, move up and down. The controls are simple. The game is simple, but simple is the best way to make these kinds of games when they're fun. These LCD games all have a bad rap now because Tiger really abused the system. I blame them for pretty much everything, but they just slapped licenses onto garbage and sold them to kids at drugstores. I mean, you can spot the quality difference a mile away. The Nintendo screens look better, the buttons work better. It feels like a Nintendo product. And that's kind of the problem. If you'd like to buy one of these today, collectors have really driven the price up. This is a fun game, but not for $100. The Game & Watch games are really good, they're well made, they still work, but like most of the Nintendo stuff out there, they're also highly sought after by collectors, especially considering there's really not that many of these. Super Mario Bros. On the Game & Watch is good, but Super Mario Bros. on the NES is better, and that's far easier and less expensive to find. Now I've got a huge classic game room, shout out and thank you, to send to Eric from Pasadena, California once again. Thank you, Eric, for sending an enormous box filled with LCD games. I cheered when I saw this Nintendo Game & Watch, surrounded by Tiger LCD handhelds. I was like, yay, I finally have one. Then I saw Narc and played that first. Oh, come on. Because I used to have Narc. Come on, that's a fun game. Super Mario Brothers Game & Watch. It's a great game on the go. Everyone will think you're the coolest guy or gal at the bar when you play Game & Watch instead of games on your phone. The difference is, of course, that when you spill a beer on your phone, it'll cost next to nothing to replace. The Game & Watch, now that's valuable. You know this has to be done, right? Oh, so close. So close. It almost fits in there. Well, at least you can still technically play Game & Watch on the Sega 32X. Plays well. I think it benefits from the added blast processing, in fact. Oh. Vanished from Earth Classic Game Room broadcasts from the Intergalactic Space Arcade on its never-ending mission to review everything. Welcome to Classic Game Room, where Handheld and Plug and Play Week continues with the Pac-Man Plug and Play game system with 12 games including Xevious, Dig Dug, and the underrated Bosconian. This thing is boss. I like. 12 classic games on one Pac-Man shaped game system. This is the Plug and Play Pac-Man, which arrived from England, although it was made in China. It's plastic, it's yellow, it has its own joystick, and requires 4 AA batteries. The only problem for many of you on Earth is that it's PAL, so you will need a PAL converter to play it. I like. Are 12 games worth it? Let's find out, starting with the terrific Bosconian, which plays well here, except it's a bit slowed down. And I'm not sure if that's because of the PAL conversion, or if this thing just really struggles with a few of the games. Bosconian, Xevious, and Dig Dug in particular are far slower than the arcade versions. And maybe that's a good thing if you're just getting into some of these games, because Xevious and Bosconian and, well, Dig Dug are merciless at full speed. But to be fair, this thing is probably not aimed at the die-hard arcade enthusiast. It's a great gift item for the die-hard arcade enthusiast, or someone who's just got a passing interest in these games, because you get a lot of games. The only big problem is the quality of the joystick, which is really weak compared to what you'll find on the actual arcade machines. It's not god-awful, but it's not great either. It's a bit mushy, it's kind of hard to pick the exact direction, particularly when you're playing Pac-Man. And for some games like Xevious or Bosconian, you may just want to put it in your lap and play it like it's a giant gamepad. There's an A button and a B button, they're both pretty good. The design of this thing is obviously a bit awkward, but it looks like Pac-Man, that's kind of the idea. And it has Pac-Man. Not that you can't get Pac-Man on 100 different things, but where else can you play Pac-Man on Pac-Man? It's like Pac-Manception. If you grip Pac-Man tightly and rip off half of his body while making screaming sounds, you can neatly tuck your wires inside of his carcass. You can also stuff batteries in there for extra brutality. Also, you'll need them to play the games. Maybe the star here is Pac-Man 256.
What is this? The 255th level of Pac-Man? It's pretty much impossible. But if you defeat it, you'll look in the mirror the next day and find out you've grown a giant mullet overnight and have a craving for hot sauce. The Pac-Man Plug and Play also comes with Super Pac-Man, which is super difficult to play with the joystick on this. Have fun controlling Turbo Pac-Man there. Gotta admit, I'm spoiled by my arcade machine on this one. I love Super Pac-Man. It's cool to see it in this collection, as well as Pac and Pal. A Pac-Man I'm not familiar with. Pac and Pal. Fitting for a PAL game system. I have no idea how to play Pac and Pal, but it does look interesting compared to some of the other Pac-Mans, so I may have to take some more time with this one. I would say the best game on the Pac-Man Plug and Play is the one with the simplest controls, and that's Galaxian. What does Blue Pac-Man mean? I'm just not sure what to do here. Is this game on anything else? Interesting. This does have good music and sound quality, I'll give it that, but it's a novelty item. There's better ways to enjoy most of the games on here. However, it's easier to give this thing as a gift than a 400-pound arcade machine. So thank you to Stephen from Cumbria, England for sending this to the show. I've been there. It's a beautiful part of the country. So thanks again, Stephen. Thanks for sending Pac-Man, Dig Dug, Xevious, Bosconian, Mappy, Pac-Man Plus, Pac and Pal, and a bunch of other games. It's the Pac-Man Plug and Play.
Everything.
Welcome to Classic Game Room, coming to you from the Zone for the review of Electronic Gauntlet from Tiger Electronics. This game is terrible.
Gauntlet from Tiger Electronics. You know the best part of this game is the artwork on the game, right? The first thing that you need to do before fighting enemies in a dungeon is make sure that you look good. You want to dress for the occasion and do your hair, and I would say that both of these adventurers have done just that. They look great. Not so sure about these guys, though. When's the last time you've seen tremendous pecs and abdominal muscles just like that? Except for watching Classic Game Room, of course. He's pointing at the mirror going, "Whoa! Look at me! Nutrisystem works!"
You'll need 2 AA batteries to power this thing, which are probably worth more than the price of the game. Okay, this was sent to the show by my friend Eric in Pasadena, California, by the way, who sent a wonderful collection of old school handheld game systems, including a bunch from Tiger. Let's turn it on and marvel at yet another amazing Tiger game. Let's try to get the lighting on this. These are always tough to film because they don't generate their own light. They only generate their own awfulness.
And I just want to make sure that you all know I'm filming this in 4K, so we can really make out those details. Like, why bother wearing pants? It's hot in the dungeons. Another thing I like about this is that it says Electronic Gauntlet, so that you're not confused about whether or not this is the arcade machine. No, this is a plastic piece of crap, which is why it's called Electronic Gauntlet from Tiger. Tiger Electronics, the makers of the Gamecom and the R-Zone.
Gauntlet was a great arcade game. Let's see how it makes the transition to Tiger Electronics handheld. Alright. You move left and right and kill things. Remember, we're trying to escape the dungeon or something, right?
This is the same case that they use for pretty much all their games, with the crappy plastic D-pad with the nubbins on it, the crappy speaker, the crappy buttons over there. Honestly, the best part of this is the artwork. It's a good looking game. You gotta give them that. They knew how to make them look nice, even if they were absolutely terrible games.
What just happened? I made it to the next level. Woo! What?
Let's admire their outfits super close up. Look at the detail. Look at those pecs. Look at that mullet. Wow.
There's a key. I think. I'm picking up the key using the pick button. The pick button, not to be confused with the key button. Oh, what just hit me?
They say don't judge a book by its cover, but they haven't played games from Tiger Electronics. The best part of this game is its cover. Look at his mullet. I mean, that is beautiful. Flowing locks of awesome. And she looks like a cross between Lita Ford and Legolas. And you know, I'm okay with that.
So check this out. The geniuses at Tiger Electronics added this super cool feature where when you hit the select button, you change characters. From warrior to bartender. It's incredible. Oh, she's definitely more feminine. The game's just as terrible as it ever was. Oh, there's a key. Quick, pick up the key. And then we'll open this wall. Wow, this is awful. This game is horrific even for Tiger standards. Ow!
But as you can see, Gauntlet is more than just mullets and cleavage. It's also monsters. And this guy. Is that a guy? What is going on there? I think he just accidentally stabbed himself in the hand.
I have a key. What do I do with this key? I am the keymaster. Where is the gatekeeper? I would almost rather be trapped in the R zone. Almost.
You gotta find things to do to keep yourself occupied. In your zone.
The things that look like jars with keys are food. A clever way to not have to program new things that look like food into the game. You just use existing assets, if we could call them assets. Look at that. I now have energy because I've eaten a jar with a key inside of it. That is what warriors eat. Alright, let's move on to the next level. I'm sure it'll be great. Moving walls. Wow. This is trippy. Watch out for the moving walls. This barbarian has had far too many keys in jars. Now the walls are moving. What? Quick, open the wall. Key. Hey, there we go. Now I have opened the wall with my key, and I can walk right through it, just like this, and it's great. It's a huge wall. Huge. This wall is great. There's a key! Quick! You're gonna run out of food! Then you won't be able to enjoy this game anymore. Oh no, I'm almost dead! But I've made it! To level 3, too! I'm almost dead though. Warrior is getting hungry. And thirsty. It's Friday. Oh no, it's game over! Look at those pecs. She does look rather mannish though.
Banished from Earth Classic Game Room broadcasts from the Intergalactic Space Arcade on its never-ending mission to review everything. Welcome to Classic Game Room. Do you love Guitar Hero but dislike the inconvenience of traveling with a giant plastic guitar and television screen? Well, how about this? The Guitar Hero 2nd Edition LCD game. Oh yeah, it's time to rock if your age is 12 and up with the Guitar Hero 2nd Edition LCD game. All the fun of Guitar Hero in the palm of your hand without any of the lyrics. We have a song selection from the best of Guitar Hero 1 and 2, 3 levels of play, and this thing will even clip onto your belt. But I think what's most impressive is that it really works. No, they're not just kidding. It really works. Which leads me to believe that they've sold things that don't really work in the past. So just keep in mind that this is a playable pocket-sized game based on the Monster video game that really works. If that's enough for you. Frankly, I'm looking for one that really, really, really works. But I guess this one only just really works with 10 jaw-dropping track segments. Jaw-dropping? Really? Aren't you pushing it? I mean, maybe if you were born in 1810, I don't know. If you're a caveman, how they make sound come out of bone? Big questions. Dumbass caveman. Haven't you ever seen an LCD game before? Hardly jaw-dropping, but it does kind of work. You know, for the most part, it works. This would be amazing if it was 1984. So if you've ever played Guitar Hero before in your life, you can probably tell what to do. You push the buttons in time with the little things flashing on screen, and score points. Frankly, I'd rather play this on a big screen. Guitar Hero 2nd Edition is a fun novelty item. It would be a great stocking stuffer. It's the perfect gift for your Guitar Hero loving friend who has it all. Except this, which runs on 3 AAA batteries. Those are annoying. I would rather it run on D-cells. But then it probably wouldn't fold up and fit into your pocket. And I'm a huge fan of Guitar Hero. While I'm kind of making fun of this thing, it can't be all bad if it has Van Halen and ZZ Top. And the sound quality's not half bad. This thing blows the Gamecom away. So thank you, anonymous donor who sent this to the show. It's Guitar Hero 2nd Edition. It also sounds better than a giant cup of coffee. Doesn't taste as good though. I don't know about you, but I'm now waiting for the pocket-sized DJ Hero.
Welcome to Classic Game Room, coming to you from the R-Zone!
It never ceases to amaze me how many of these Tiger Electronic handheld games there are based on big arcade games from the 80s. Here's another one. It's Electronic Shinobi. Wait, no, I'm sorry. It's Electronic Ninja Gaiden or Ninja Gaiden. They all kind of blend together after a while. The difference here, I guess, is that Electronic Shinobi is better than Electronic Ninja Gaiden. It's true. This one is decidedly average for the crappy LCD handheld genre. It does have a few nice features though. For starters, it looks great. The Ninja Gaiden artwork is always classy, even when printed on a crappy Tiger LCD handheld game.
What? Don't look so surprised. You can't very well enjoy a trip to the R-Zone without a delicious can of Sex Panther. Woo!
How about that music? Alright, this thing is powered by 2 AA batteries, and it's the same shell and case that you'll find containing numerous Tiger Electronic handheld games. There's a jump button, an attack and pick up things button, and of course, a D-pad. These Tiger handhelds were cheap, so when your parents wouldn't buy you a Game Boy, maybe, just maybe, they would buy you a far less expensive, cheap, crappy handheld in the drugstore. Or Toys R Us or something. They used to have a whole lot of these things. And for the most part, they're pretty awful. Some managed to be better than others, though. See my review of the electronic Shinobi handheld. It's surprisingly good considering the limitations, and it was a somewhat clever interpretation of the Shinobi arcade game, except all the Tiger LCD games were pretty much stuck in the R zone.
Which is good, so that I have something to play. Hey, at least it's not the Gamecom. Walk into my knife. Walk into my knife. Come on. Bring it. That's right. Woo!
Electronic Ninja Gaiden here feels more like the popular NES game than the Ninja Gaiden arcade machine, where you run along the ground, fight enemies, jump in the air, collect power-ups, keep an eye out for that red light, which I think is your health power-up, but I'm not entirely sure. I don't have the instructions, but I'm assuming that when the designers figured out they could just put a red light into the game, they were like, yay, red light, woo! That's one step closer to the R zone after all. You can just barely hear the game's audio beneath the roar of my button mashing, because that's what you do in this game. You mash buttons and attack bad guys while running right. Keep an eye out for the ladder so you can climb up, and then continue running right while being attacked by birds and enemy ninjas. Sounds fun? Sure, if you're stuck in the R zone.
The R zone is the perfect place to Wang Chung tonight.
It would seem that there's little power-ups that you collect which give you a spinning attack and ninja stars, and there's a pseudo-end boss battle at the end of your moving right ladder climbing adventure, which usually just results in the screen freezing because that's when you know it's time to hit start and move to the next level. That's right. You should have saved up and bought a Game Boy. One Game Boy is worth 1,000 of these games, but you know, they're still kind of fun to review. They're budget games based on these big budget games. I love the artwork. I think they look really cool, especially if you have a whole bunch of them. Which I do thanks to Eric from Pasadena, California. Thank you for sending the giant box filled with tigers to the show. There's also some Mattel and Radio Shack handhelds in there. Tiger wasn't the only one in on the handheld video game craze, you know. They just had a unique style, probably because their engineers were all stuck in the R zone.
How does it make such terrible sounds? Why do the Tiger engineers hate ears?
Walk into my waggling sword. So once again, thank you, Eric from California. It's Electronic Ninja Gaiden. Did you see I just picked up the health thing? Did you all enjoy the red light? I'm fairly certain they designed that red light for something else, like a different game, and then put it in here because it looked cool, and they had a whole bunch of them left over in inventory. What just happened? I don't know. What a terrible game. I wouldn't buy this one unless you're specifically collecting Tiger electronic handheld games. Climbing for dollars. Or unless you're planning to take that road trip directly into the R zone.
You know, it's really not that bad. I mean, this game is terrible, but we have lots of other amazing things inside the R zone! Like eternal pain and suffering in a red blurry terror from hell. It's about as bad as it sounds, actually. Help. I'm almost out of Sex Panther.
Oh! It's a very sad ending sound.
If any of you happen to pass through the R zone on your way somewhere else, could you please bring me another 6-pack of Sex Panther? Or really anything will do. Except Zima. That stuff was terrible.
Back in the day in arcades, people used to take each of their games more seriously when you had to pay to play each time you stepped onto the machine. And the pay-to-play arcade machine money box brings that feeling of financial responsibility back into the gaming world. Cheap dirtbags beware, there's no free ride with this thing. In order to activate the arcade game, a coin must be inserted in the top and you'll receive 2 minutes of arcade-style gaming action. It looks like one of the monsters that was in Scooby-Doo. Let's open this thing up and play Earth Defenders. I'm going to unbox the arcade machine money box, but since it is pay to play, there's a penny. I guess I have to pay more, it's still in the plastic. Earth Defenders looks really awesome, and thanks to our friend Atoll in Norway for sending this to us. Not only does it want our money, but it also wants our batteries. I've got to cannibalize one of my remotes for some AAAs. Oh, that'd be the wrong way. There we go. Not a very mechanical person. Take off the screen cover. Let's insert a quarter. And have a good time. With Earth Defenders, I have 2 minutes. Better hurry up. Remember, you've got to make every second count with this game. Don't invade Earth! I'm defending! When your game is over, you simply reach for more money. I wonder if this thing is smart enough to differentiate a quarter from a nickel. Let's find out. Nope. Fooled the machine. I am smarter than you. But you don't need to tell other people that. If you put this on your desk at work, have a quarter sign next to it. That way your gullible coworkers will be happy to give you quarters to play your video game. I just walked into Alien Fire. That was stupid. Our game of Earth Defenders is over, but remember, you don't need to reach for a quarter. A penny will do. Haha. Come to think of it, you don't even have to insert legal tender. Here's one of the Professional and Amateur Pinball Association pinball tokens. Let's try a DL2032 battery. Yep, that also works. Level 3! No! My watch battery is going to waste. After you've robbed all of your friends and co-workers of their hard-earned money because you've placed a 25-cent sign on this thing on your desk, you then open the back of the machine up and collect all of their money for your own good. That's capitalism. That's defending Earth. I love the artwork and detail on this thing. It totally captures the old school 80s arcade style, the giant button on the front, left to right joystick, and of course, the convenient money slot. The game itself is, as you may have noticed, a lot like Space Invaders, which is a good thing. Who doesn't love some Space Invaders, especially when you're making money from people? Look at me, I'm like Flynn from Tron. I own my own arcade, except I just walked into enemy fire, which was stupid. Flynn would never do that. Thanks again to our friend Atoll in Norway. He also donated the 2001 Monolith for Classic Toy Room. And check it out, you can see the reflection of my hands in the screen. What's missing? The game. We've got to pay to play. But more importantly, I want other people to pay to play my machine. So this will now cost 2... How do you make the pound sign in England? 2 quid. 2 quid to play. Alright. And I'm going to wait for some unsuspecting jackass to insert money that I'm going to collect from them playing Earth Defenders. Hey, look, it's a video game. 2 quid to play. Why, that's like 15 US dollars. Well, okay, it's worth it. Welcome to Classic Game Room for the review of Electronic Shinobi from Tiger Electronics. Is it good, or are we about to take a trip into the R-Zone? Let's find out. I am Shinobi. I fight for the children. And the power of blast processing, which this most certainly does not have. Whatever Tiger Electronics has, it's the exact opposite of blast processing. Mark, I believe that's what we call R-Zone processing. Processing from within the R-Zone.
This is Electronic Shinobi, coming to you from the R-Zone! Thankfully, it's better than that. Hey, it's the guy with the scuba gear!
Maybe I'll turn off the R-Zone effect. That always makes me feel crazy. Like crazier than normal. What's also crazy is that this game doesn't completely suck. It's not good. None of these are good. But it does a decent job recreating Shinobi in crappy LCD handheld form. Shinobi is a classic Sega arcade game released in 1987. This handheld version was released in, time doesn't exist in the R-Zone. Who can say? You know, it doesn't even matter. Here's what you do. You walk forward and throw throwing stars at the bad guy ninjas who are trying to shoot you. Keep a sharp eye out for those boomerang blades, though. They do manage to boomerang even on the crappy LCD screen.
What?
Uh-oh, level 3, I've upgraded to bombs, which actually makes things harder. After each wave of enemy ninjas and ninjas jumping out of the water, you battle an end boss, which is basically the first boss from Shinobi. Just throw throwing stars at his head. Eventually, he'll get sucked back into the R-Zone, and off you go. The bottom right button on your Tiger LCD handheld is the attack button, and the top right button saves children. Your handheld game system is powered by 2 AA batteries, both of which secretly would rather be powering something else. This was sent to the show in a massive box of handheld games by Eric from Pasadena, California. I look forward to playing all of these. As you can see, the Shinobi handheld shares the same design and mold as a lot of other Tiger handheld games, with varying degrees of terribleness, so we'll all have a good time reviewing this. Yes! Shinobi 1, bad guys 0. Now I have a bomb. Which is actually not my favorite weapon in Shinobi. Yeah, the bomb doesn't have much of a range. Watch out for the ninjas jumping out of the water, and keep an eye on the boomerang blade. Notice how it goes to the left of the screen, hovers there for a moment, and then flies back. You have to shoot the thrower of the blade to get rid of it. What? What hit me?
You were struck down by the R-Zone!
Don't forget to save the children. They can appear on the top or bottom level. Electronic Shinobi is not a good game. It could be worse, but very few things are worse than even a good Tiger handheld. Shinobi is sad. There's a sad face under this ninja mask. Thanks again to Eric from Pasadena, California for sending this to the show. It's
Electronic Shinobi! down, somebody, anybody?
Welcome to Classic Game Room for the review of the Namco Plug and Play game system, which has 5 games including Pac-Man, Galaxian, Dig Dug, Rally X, and Bosconian. Is it good? Let's find out. For a while there, they were making a lot of these plug-and-play video games, which are a great way to get a lot of games for a value price. The question is it worth it, even for $10? Is the plastic Namco Plug and Play a game system worth owning? Well, I would say yes, purely based on the fact that how many of us really have a Bosconian arcade machine? This one is actually better than it looks. The Namco Plug and Play features Pac-Man, which is always good, Dig Dug, Galaxian, Rally X, and Bosconian. One of Namco's great underrated classics. In fact, probably Namco's most underrated game of all time. Bosconian is terrific. This thing is powered by 4 AA batteries, it has a 4-way joystick, which isn't half bad, and I even kinda like the purple and yellow design with the Namco Pac-Man and Dig Dug artwork on the side. While it only outputs cheap composite video and mono audio, if you can find this thing for 10 or 20 bucks, it's kinda worth it. Especially as a gift for a friend or something for your kids. Purists can obviously find far better ways to play these games. You could visit an arcade. A lot of these games are available on PlayStation or whatever. You can even rig up a badass controller and just play them on your computer, but there's something to be said for just plugging in a cheap plug-and-play game system, playing a few games, and loaning it to your kids for a while. If you're not raising your children on Pac-Man, then you're not raising your children correctly. What, you don't want your 6-year-old breaking a $60 PlayStation 4 controller? That's understandable. Go with this thing. It's got 5 great games. Rally X is also a surprising hit on here. It's not one that I'm terribly familiar with, but I always enjoy it every time I play it. So clearly, I need to spend more time playing Rally X, and Bosconian is just a real treat. I mean, Pac-Man, Dig Dug, and Galaxian are super easy to find, but Bosconian is a real hidden gem. The emulation quality is as you see it, not too bad. Some of the games sound a little bit off. They never sound as good as the arcade machines, and Pac-Man runs a bit fast, at least compared to my Pac-Man machine. Odds are that most of you listening have other ways to play most of these games, so perhaps the Namco Plug and Play is best suited as a gift for a friend, family member, or one of your kids. It gets the job done, I really can't complain. The button's not bad, the joystick's not too bad, and it's got 5 good games. And I've got a classic game room. Shout out and thank you. All the way to Andy from Tyler, Texas, and his son, Dylan, who gets the extra reverb. Thank you, Andy and Dylan. I imagine there's a few of you out there who will eye this one up for Bosconian and Rally X, the rarer of the 5 games. Who doesn't love some good death music? All you need is some batteries, a television, and some kind of atmospheric conditions that won't kill you. That way, you can enjoy 5 awesome Namco games, including Mr. Pac-Man.
Oh, come on!
Welcome to Classic Game Room, where my friend Tim has sent loads of super cool things to the show, like Lando Calrissian action figures and the Jyn Erso Pop vinyl figure and a real sword, just in case I happen to encounter Jar Jar Binks somewhere, and also this Space Invaders mini arcade game, which I'm going to review right now for you. Always make sure the camera is just out of reach of your sword when filming, by the way. That's a pro tip, kids. So let's check out Space Invaders. It's up to you to save the Earth. Move the laser gun back and forth. Do you really have to explain to people how to play Space Invaders? I think everyone knows. It's so much fun to wave a sword around, especially when you could possibly hurt someone. Except that someone would be me. So I shall be careful when waving a sword. There can be only 3 minus 2. Let's get started with Space Invaders.
Invaders from space, what are you gonna do? Because they're descending from the top of the screen while shooting lasers at you. Try me. It's Space Invaders, classic arcade gameplay. It's up to you to save the Earth. Authentic arcade sounds, monochrome LCD background, and multiple challenge levels. This comes with 2 AA batteries, which is pretty nice. Great packaging artwork. It's got the little Space Invaders monster thing from the arcade machine on the side of the arcade machine here, and it's an official Taito licensed product. So let's fire it up. I may as well take it out of the packaging first, but you can try it through the plastic. You can't get at the joystick though. We're gonna have to open it. Here it is out of the packaging in all of its Space Invaders glory. Got a little arcade stick, speakers on the front, or well, at least one speaker. Arcade artwork on the side. It's actually a nice looking LCD game. Big points. It does not look like there is a contrast adjusting switch though. That's the only problem here. You can barely see the laser fire. Can you see it on camera? Here, let's start a game again. You gotta look really hard. As expected, it's a fun novelty item. For serious Space Invaders enthusiasts, may I suggest some Demon Attack on Atari 2600. Yeah! Or TI Invaders on the TI-99, that's also nice. It does have real arcade sounds. I don't think the aliens have hit me yet, have they? Well, their aim is terrible. That's not bad, except you really can't see your laser fire. Well. I mean, I did bullseye that UFO though. But that's because I'm awesome. Oh, now it's really getting fast. Uh-oh. Now it's getting serious. Oh, I've finally been destroyed! The invaders from space have defeated me once. I can't see my laser fire, so I'm just shooting blind. Game over? Wait, why? What happened? I'm gonna have to rewind the tape and watch that. I don't know what just happened. If by tape, but never mind. You know what I mean. After reviewing my Betacam footage, I have discovered that when the aliens touch the bottom of the screen, the game ends. Also, the instructions say that too. Also, the game ends if the allotted time limit runs out. So basically, the game is going to end no matter what you do. Space Invaders. It's okay. I like the little joystick. I like the arcade machine design. I like Space Invaders. It is what it is. I just can't see my fire. Like, what you see on screen is actually pretty accurate to what I'm seeing with my human eyeballs. My mighty human eyeballs. I should preface it with the word mighty. Look at that. No, I missed one. Yeah! Woo! Great artwork on the side. Like, it does give a bit of an arcade experience. With a chuckle. So once again, thanks to my man Tim for sending Space Invaders to the show. Don't let the invaders from space touch the bottom of your plastic screen.
I mean, you gotta admit, this is worlds better than all that Tiger crap from the 80s and 90s. Not much, but a little bit. I am a Space Invaders destroying machine. Yeah! Level 10. This is where I died last time. But not this time. This time I am going to destroy Space Invaders. No! I lost a life, but I have more. When all your other friends are playing cell phone games, you could be the kid still rocking the LCD game in school. It's game over. For everyone! Except that guy. His game has just begun.
Banished from Earth Classic Game Room broadcasts from the intergalactic space arcade on its never-ending mission to review everything.
It would really mean a lot to me if I got a high score. It would be like the highlight of my day. I have defeated the entire cast of Saved by the Bell. Now what?
Welcome to an extremely exciting classic game room where I'm suffering from space turbulence to bring you this exciting review of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers video game from Tiger, the LCD handheld game, which is horrible. So prepare to enjoy the review as the intergalactic space arcade is sucked into a black hole. Ah!
Call. Friend. Let's kill. Together.
We should all thank Tiger Electronics because you know it's impossible to truly appreciate good video games until you've played the really bad ones. Most of theirs. These crappy Tiger LCD handheld games were quite popular in the 80s and early 90s. Frequently based on some kind of a licensed property like the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, seen here. You can jump, you can punch, you can even call your friends and transform into Megazord, I think. I was never really a big fan of the show. Huge fan of the Pink Ranger, not so much the rest of them.
What? Don't you hit me, bitch. Die! It's my show, and you're just wearing a rubber suit. You're just some crappy expert. I mean, extra. An expert in sucking. Just thought of that.
While this game is colorful and looks fun, annoyingly the Pink Ranger is covered up by the blue one, who should get the hell out of the way.
I wouldn't even know this show existed if it wasn't for Pink Ranger. Quick, transform into thing. How do I do that? Can I just do it? Oh, I called my friends in to get killed along with me. That's nice of them. We'll share the pain together.
But looking beyond that, let's criticize the actual gameplay, which, as you can imagine, is downright terrible. You just punch the entire time and then occasionally turn into something else and jump in the air and shoot laser beams.
Horrible. This game is awful.
But it all sucks, don't kid yourself.
The people who made this should be punished by the Power Rangers themselves for putting them into such crappy video games.
The funny thing is, I swear I've seen this Mighty Morphin Power Rangers game before because I have. It's also the same case as Double Dragon. Wow. For what it's worth, I guess that does sort of cut down on production costs. So good job, Tiger. Too bad they're all terrible.
I'm just gonna keep punching, and if you walk into my fist, you'll die, and it's your fault. You will blink and go away in front of a beautiful Western backdrop.
I gotta admit, I love the backgrounds in these games, though. They're hilarious. Why bother programming a background when you can just paint one or print it on there or whatever and have the little cheap LCD action on top of it? It's really brilliant if you think about it.
I could be playing good games right now, like Double Dragon on the Tiger Handheld LCD. But no, I'm playing Power Rangers on the Tiger Handheld LCD. The things I do for you. Classic game room audience.
Yes, you punch enemies, you fight an end boss, and move on to the next round, score some points, waste some batteries, kill some time. It's Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Tiger Handheld game system. Wow, love it.
Finish him! Literally, please, finish the goddamn game.
Now this priceless piece of video game history was sent to the show by my man Ron from Cedarburg, Wisconsin.
I broke 10,000 points. I'm glad I didn't get another guy.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you for sending the Power Rangers to Classic Game Room. You can take 4 of them back. Yes, quality, craftsmanship, gameplay, none of that can be found here. It's the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Tiger Handheld.
Can you not defeat my mighty LCD power?
Horrible monstrosity. Why would anyone get this when they could have had a Game Boy? There's just no reason for that. There's just no reason. And which Ranger are we playing anyway? It kind of looks like the Black Ranger, but in my mind, I believe it's the pink one.
Whatever. Whoops. Game over. Man, this game was over before it even began. Boom, boom, tss.
Welcome to Classic Game Room, where I love the Sega Genesis and fancy controllers. So when you combine the two, you get this thing, the Outrun 2019 Radica controller pad and mini Sega Genesis. How is this not going to be incredible?
I swear I've seen this controller before, because I have, for the Sony PlayStation, but here it's been repurposed as a plug-and-play Outrun 2019 standalone video game console with analog controller, even though the game doesn't have analog controls. It makes absolutely no sense, but it's a miniature Sega Genesis, and who can argue that this isn't worth owning? It's like a survival tool. If the power goes out, this little Sega Genesis, powered by batteries, will still work, assuming you have a generator to run your television. What a strange choice of games, too. Outrun 2019, which is a very cool game, but not a household name like Sonic the Hedgehog or something, and it doesn't even work with the analog controls. But here it is, and it plays. It works fine. It's actually a decent controller, not one of my favorites, but who can argue with a miniaturized, battery-powered Sega Genesis that plays Outrun 2019? This is something you have to have, unless you already have Outrun 2019 for your Sega Genesis.
Oh! See-through roads of the future suck!
It's the same game, as far as I can tell. You don't get anything new here, except that really funky red controller, which is nearly identical to one I reviewed a while back for the PlayStation 2, called the Radica Gamester.
And cars would handle better in the future.
And maybe they do if you play this game with the standard Sega Genesis gamepad and the D-pad. It's not an analog game. So why is it using an analog controller? It's kind of bizarre, but neat because of it. Here's a direct feed capture from Outrun 2019 being played off the mini battery-powered Sega Genesis. I love that thing. Sadly, you only get composite video and mono, but, you know, you also get that red controller, so I suppose it kind of evens out, even if the controller is ridiculous. It's ridiculous things that are worth collecting. I'm gonna send a big Classic Game Room shout out and thank you to Hank from Columbia, Maryland. Thank you for sending this to the show. It's such a cool collectible for Sega Genesis fans. If you're interested in the game, which I reviewed a long time ago, I would recommend just buying the game. It's very cool and plays well on the Genesis. But this is a novelty item that really would make a great gift for your favorite Genesis fan, wouldn't it? Sadly, it doesn't play any other games, it's not a Sega Nomad, and you still need an external television or viewing device, but it's a little Sega Genesis with a bright red controller that plays Outrun. So thanks again to Hank from Maryland for bringing this to our attention. The Radica Plug and Play Outrun 2019 with miniature Sega Genesis. The perfect gift for Lord Carnage Appreciation Day or whatever holidays you celebrate, because it's the gift that keeps on giving Outrun 2019.
Welcome to Classic Game Room, where it's time to put down your Pokemon Go and play some Plane and Tank from Radio Shack. That's right, they're coming back, and hell's coming with them. Radio Shack. It's been a long time since Radio Shack has been a force in the gaming industry. Maybe it's time they make a return, and I can think of no better way to start than by making a sequel to Plane and Tank, because this game is great. It's got tanks and planes. It sounds like they could be friends, right? Like Starsky and Hutch, administrator and of this facility. But no, they're mortal enemies here, as the planes are trying to bomb the tank, and all you want to do is get over that drawbridge. The simplicity makes it good. No! The planes bombed the tank before he crossed the drawbridge. What's on the other side of the bridge? I think it's a tank party. There's a bunch of tanks over there drinking beer, rocking out to some music on their Optimus hi-fi stereo purchased from Radio Shack in 1992. I had one of those. They were terrible. Woo! Extra tank! For that we get a remote-controlled car from Radio Shack. Oh, how times have changed. Radio Shack was once a force to be reckoned with. The place to go for buying capacitors, batteries, and other do-it-yourself electronic kit things. Now it's like a Best Buy for old people, but I think Radio Shack could have their best years ahead of them if they would just release a sequel to Plane and Tank. Because while it's not widely known, this game is actually really fun. The beauty of Plane and Tank is in its simplicity. You just avoid the bombs and get over the drawbridge. It's like one of the old school Nintendo Game & Watch games, except this is from Radio Shack, which actually makes it cooler, because you never saw it coming. Seriously, I thought this game was gonna be a joke, but no. Radio Shack Plane and Tank is legit. Each time I played, I figured out some new strategies for dodging these bombs, got a high score. It's a really good game. Plane and Tank, who knew? There's only 2 buttons, left and right. You start each round in your little cave there. After a few seconds, it will push you out into oncoming bombs though, so plan your exit carefully. I recommend hanging out in the middle of the playfield if possible, which gives you some left and right moving options. Dodge the bombs, but keep a sharp eye out for the drawbridge. Then race across it, scoring big points. It seems that you also score points just for staying alive, which you won't do very long unless you get across that drawbridge and reach the tank party. Maybe they're playing Atari using one of the Radio Shack brand RF adapters, where you could switch between TV and game. I had a Radio Shack comic book back in the day. Like, my dad loved Radio Shack, so everything in our house electronic was Radio Shack, including the stereo, which was terrible. Optimus has nothing to do with Optimus Prime. It sucks. Thankfully, this game doesn't. It also doubles as an alarm clock. So when your iPhone dies on you, Plane and Tank will keep working. That's the power of Radio Shack. I even like the name. I think when you put the word shack into any company, it automatically makes it cool. Kinda like Hut. Woo! In fact, the best company ever made would be called Hut Shack.
Oh, come on, this is unfair.
Hut Shack is the place to go for pizzas and batteries. I've got a Classic Game Room shout out and thank you going all the way to Eric from Pasadena, California. Thank you for sending Plane and Tank to the show. This one may be a Game of the Year contender for 2016. It's surprisingly fun. I just found myself getting absorbed by this little tank trying to get over the drawbridge. Also, I needed a new alarm. Now be forewarned, if you buy this, try to get one with the instructions because the date and the mode buttons are pretty confusing. There's 2 gameplay modes. I think the second one is just faster. And it's a really fun game. Plane and Tank, Radio Shack, if you're listening, make a sequel. And I don't want better graphics. I don't want improved sound, online multiplayer, DLC, augmented reality, or anything else. Plane and Tank 2 should just come in a red case with the number 2.
That's the score to beat, kids. That's the score to beat.